We have been working within the editing tab in iMovie for quite a while now. We've been looking at titles and transitions, and the next thing to have a look at is video effects. Now, video effects are an excellent way of spicing up your film or your movie that you're working with. But again, a word of caution, like transitions, don't overuse them and only use them when appropriate. For example, although electricity may look like a very interesting effect to have going on in your movie, it's just, and you can move the electricity by dragging and dropping with the hand. It's just sometimes I don't always like using the word, but in this case, corny. It can not always look great. It sometimes takes away from your film I know it may look cool for a moment, but this electricity could take away from your film. So try and use them with a bit of caution. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to go to this clip here, the first clip, and I'm going to click on, first of all, I'm going to have a look at the effect of fast, slow, and reverse. Fast, slow, and reverse will allow me to change the speed of the clip so I can make it quicker or slow it down, bring it to slow motion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going with the slider, I'm going to drag it to the left and create a slow motion of the children walking. Now, you might have heard a beep there. I'll do it again. Hear those beeps? That's because I've made one little mistake. I never highlighted the clip that I want to apply the effect to. So I need to first of all click the clip I want to apply the effect to. Then I can click on my fast, slow, and reverse. I shouldn't get a beep. And then I can drag and create slow motion if I wanted to. And I'll even get a preview of how it looks. Now that looks like I'm after making it quicker, because it is, because I clicked it to the faster side, and now if I want to make it slower, I click it to the other side, and we get slow motion. Then we just click apply, and then here you'll notice the red line is rendering and making the effect for us. So now we should have, when this rendering stops, a clip that is in slow motion. One thing to note there is notice how that the audio, which was the noise of the streets and the people talking attached to the video clip, is also turned into slow motion. So later on we'll come back to how you can change that and how you can have the audio separate. Now if you don't like that, you can go up to Advanced and click on Revert Clip to the original, which will take away the effect that you have. Now another thing I'd like to show you, by going down and clicking on the timeline option, there is something on the video clip. Notice it there. That we have, it's telling us that we have an effect and that we have a title. That's actually wrong because we took the title off, but we do have an effect which tells us there, so we know by looking at it what effect we have. Now let's say for example we want to add another effect. You can add effects on effects. So we have a slow motion on this clip. Let's add a aged film effect, which let's say we'll even go. We could add black and white. Black and white looks good. Now, one thing I want to draw your attention to is down here. Effect in and effect out. This basically means that you can start the effect later within the clip and come out earlier within the clip. So effect out will be coming out earlier. So say for example if you wanted to in color for the first 2 or 3 seconds and then for the rest of it in black and white. What I can do is I can drag the slider and say, well, black and white's going to start at 1 minute 5 frames. There. 1 second 5 frames, 2 seconds 14 frames, and now what I'm going to do is click apply. Again, if we go into our timeline option, we should see the render bar. Now, an interesting note about this is because it's applying an effect upon an effect, it's actually going to take much longer to make and to render than it normally would, because it has to add two effects basically at the same time. I know we already added one effect earlier, but iMovie needs to do both of them at the same time, so we're nearly halfway there. So while we're waiting, I'm just going to move on to another clip, which is here, and let's have a look. You can actually add in rain in some effects as well if you wanted to. And now that's very light, you can barely see it. So you can actually change over here the effects of the rain. You can change the amount of rain by making an awful lot more. You can change the wind speed and make an awful lot more. And if we go and have a look at the rain now, you can see that it actually gives you a heavy set of rain if you'd like. Now there is another effect I'd like to bring your attention to, and this is one called Quartz Composer. And if I click on the arrow, it'll drop down many different options. And these can add some nice lovely effects, but again, just be careful where you use them. Bloom, it kind of just adds a border and it gives you that blurred effect there. You can bring color monochromes, which kind of you can really affect the different kind of colors that you get out of it. You can adjust the exposure, so if it was too bright, you can make it darker if you liked and so wished. You could bring in glass distortion, kind of looks like a whole glass effect there. You could have a newspaper, looks like a newspaper effect, and this is very good. This newspaper, if you're using it with with something like Comic Life, it could be quite useful in Comic Life to because Comic Life has that effect of a newspaper. Now let's have a look at the clip that we were looking at earlier. That's nice. Notice how it started off in color. First of all, it's slow-mo, then in color, and then the color fades to black and white, and that's all because the effect in tab I moved a little bit in so that the second effect, which is black and white, wouldn't start until 2 seconds into the clip. Now the other thing just to note, I'll go back onto the black and white one there, again is just remember not to overuse it, and that is how to use and to add video effects onto your timeline.